The two most powerful words in the world that we know are, what if? Every great thing that I've ever been a part of began with those two words. And today, thousands of organizations are saying, what if? With the power to act on those words like never before. What if every child had a tutor? What if every healthcare visit felt personal? What if every family had their own financial advisor? What if your business never had to sleep? What if? What if your company could solve problems before you even knew they existed? What if you could empower every employee with a limitless digital workforce, one that listens, learns, and acts all day, every day? Well, this isn't some far-fetched science fiction fantasy anymore. No, it's happening right now with AI from Salesforce. It's called Agentforce. Agentforce turns your vision into reality. Think about it, a future where every student, patient, client, citizen, and customer experiences the best service possible. And your people? Well, now they're free to focus on the work that matters most. And all you have to do is bring your dreams. Imagine that. What if? What if every company was an Agentforce company? What if?
Please welcome to the stage Robin Fisher, Senior Vice President, EMEA Growth Markets, Salesforce!
What if Matthew McConaughey was as cool as Robin Fisher? Right. But, good morning, everyone. Robin Fisher, SVP for Salesforce Emerging Markets, and I must say, delighted to be all of you this morning. What a pleasure. Thank you for showing up, and thank you for giving of your time. We're going to inspire and delight you. This is a focus not just on Salesforce. This is a focus on Agentforce. Agentforce is, of course, what it says. It's Salesforce AI. It's what's bedded into the #1 CRM system in the world. It's the agentic layer that is going to make everything in Salesforce super boosted because of the AI or agentic layer in there. But before we get started, it would be remiss of me not to say a massive thank you and deep heartfelt gratitude to every one of you in this room. You know, we don't take anything for granted at Salesforce. We don't exist if it's not for our customers or you don't show up at events like this today. So thank you to all of our customers and prospects. Thank you to our partners. They're the ones that often make the realization of our technology a reality. And of course, thank you to our employees that are on the trenches every day. And of course, to the event crew. So thank you to everyone. Again, deep gratitude. We wouldn't be here without them. But before we get started, I also want to say thank you to one of my leaders. So Neil Green, where are you, bud? Where is he? Make him stand up. I can't see. I want to embarrass him. He's back there. And I'll tell you why thank you. Because today is a special day for Neil. Today is Neil's birthday. So happy birthday, Neil. So let's kick off. Let's understand what today is about. So there's a lot of content that we want to give you. You know, AI kind of hit us like a friggin' freight train. But interestingly, we were all aware about AI. But it hit you guys in the kind of consumer environment, certainly right when we kind of had the generative AI, the chat GPTs. So show of hands quickly, who hasn't used some sort of generative AI? Who hasn't used chat GPT? Not a single hand goes up. I can see it from up here. So you'll know what I'm talking about, right? But many, well, not even that long ago, right? No one even knew what it was. Now you're asking it to make images, do your presentations, do your script, right? Your PA in the pocket. Today we're going to kind of demystify everything that AI is or isn't. We're going to have 2 sessions in this room. Through the day, this room will get broken up into track 1 and 2. And then next door, we're going to have workshop sessions for you. So please make sure that you're here with us for the day and you avail of it, because our job is really to educate and inspire and delight you. So Salesforce is 26 years old now. We started in 1999, and we were set up on a core set of values. And nothing has changed or deviated in that time. We still adhere to those values. And I think our #1 value of trust is probably more important than ever right now. Because if we think about this world of big data and LLM and agents and AI, you know, what we're seeing is there's a lot of big companies out there, and there's a lot of players in that space. But they're taking your data. They're taking your data, and they're using it as their product, right? That's not what we should be doing, especially as corporates. This is confidential, finite data. Your customers are trusting you, and hopefully you're trusting vendors like Salesforce to say, you will not treat my data like a product. You will give me the security and the reliability that's required. So that's true today, like it was before. Remember, we were the leaders in cloud computing. You had to trust cloud computing. It became de facto. And we will continue to be the leaders in trust when it comes to AI. Of course, customer success goes without saying. If you're not wildly successful with our technology, we don't exist. Right? It's when we started the subscription model, it was quid pro quo. It wasn't sell and leave. And we're also seeing a transition in the business now. It's not just subscription model, it's consumption model. We've got to make sure that you're wildly successful with our technology, and that success means your bottom line. And of course, that doesn't happen without innovation. We are seeing innovation hitting us so quickly. We're at a time that is seminal. And I would ask that if you guys are interested in AI, you have to read up on it. It is changing and happening so quick. Right? There is no time to be complacent. You have to be on top of that. And hopefully we at Salesforce are with innovation. And then, of course, don't get me started. I can go on all day about it around what's happening at a macro political economic environment is there's never been a time where we have to be more equitable, more equal, and more sustainable than right now because we see what the world is up to. So that's us. Let's go and quickly have a look, right, really around what's happening in the workspace. You know, you guys are seeing a situation in your workspace where technology is moving. Customer expectations are changing. You know, we've all seen models of work operating. You have to be online. You have to be quick. You have to be detailed. You have to be empathetic. There is huge pressure on us in our businesses to do more. Sometimes do more with less or do more with the same. So what's happening is our employees are struggling, right? For customer success to happen, you know, no matter who you are, you're on the people business. Your people make your business. Whether you're making a product or you're giving a service, it's your people. And when your people are at capacity, or they don't have the skills, or they can't react quick enough, that's when things start breaking, right? So what we need to do is we need to empower people more to be more productive. And that's where the AI comes in. It makes your humans superhuman. It makes them available 24/7 on any channel. And it doesn't replace humans. I've had a lot of people saying, well, this AI is going to make us all redundant. No, it's going to make us better. Right? Because if I was to give you kind of a metaphor around that, think about operating in the current work environment and saying out to a salesperson and saying, I'm not going to give you email and I'm not going to give you a cell phone. Because email and cell phone didn't make people redundant. It just made them better. And AI isn't going to make people redundant. It's just going to make them better. I hope that sticks. Right? And yes, Logan, I see you staring at me. I did work before email. I used to have a fax machine. He knows that story, right? So there we go. But it has made me better. Emails made me better. WhatsApp's made me better. And, of course, cell phones have made me better. But how do we do it, right? How do we do it? Because your customers don't care about your woes. They care about their experience. They don't care that you're at capacity or you can't hire quick enough or that your systems are disparate and you can't get the information. They care about the experience. That's all they care about, right? And if you can give them a wow experience, well, then they'll stay with you and they'll grow with you. Right? Because at the end of the day, the people in the front lines that we employ, they're the ones that hit our bottom line. Right? That's what happens. They've got to be empowered. But they're not. They're overwhelmed. They're doing mundane tasks. They've got all this stuff that's happening. They just can't make it stick. So we've got to kind of bridge that divide. So how do we make your humans superhumans? You know, if I was to say about it, what happens if your workforce had no limits? They never slept. They operated on every channel. They were available 24/7. They could analyze data. They could get meaning out of data really, really quickly. Again, what happens if your workforce had no limits? So good news is, at Salesforce, we think we've got a solution for you. Right? We think we have a solution for you. We have this world's #1 CRM system. And this world #1 CRM system has been built on a unified, trusted platform. You know, we've had sales, marketing, service, integration, analytics, all sitting on that, right? Now what we're doing with that same platform is we're saying, right, we're going to now add agents into that. Give you a digital labor force on top of the existing people that you have. It's not revolutionary for us, though. It's not brand new for us, because as much as I said ChatGPT kind of hit us like a freight train, and what was that? Salesforce has been doing AI for 11 years. So back in the day, when we introduced AI as the first CRM company 11 years ago into our platform, right, we called it kind of wave 1, which was our Einstein. It was predictive analytics, right, kind of what's going to happen. Then, of course, we evolved that, and you know, we all heard about the Copilot, and the Copilot was really what ChatGPT was for business. It's kind of a response to a query. It's a summary of data. It's an action on data, but it was really It's kind of ChatGPT for business trying to bring it in Copilot. And Salesforce had that too, and other companies out there had it too. The next wave of that is autonomous agents. And what I mean by autonomous agent is that you tell it what to do. You give it guide rails. You say, this is what you can do. And you can operate on these parameters. If you need to issue a credit note, sometimes you can do that without human intervention, provided you've set it up those guide rails. Return, refunds, lead qualification, you name it. You can do that autonomously and take the mundane out without having to have a human tell it every time what to do, which is kind of what Copilot was. This is autonomous. And of course, the next layer is going to be robotics, and we'll be watching that space. So, Agentforce, or AI, exists today, and it exists everywhere. So, interestingly enough, you've had the forward-looking statements, right? Only buy what's currently available. Well, Agentforce went general release for us at Salesforce at the end of October. So it's 5 months old as a product, general availability. And we have over 5,000 customers globally that are already paying and implementing, and many of them already gone live, because that's the nature of Agentforce. So, it is our fastest moving technology we've ever had. People are adopting it, and they're taking it really, really quickly. 5 months of being GA. And it's in all sorts of industries. You can look at it, the use cases are limitless, because people are building agents. And I do challenge all of you, before today is over, to build an agent. I can build an agent, and I'm like dummy number one, right? So you will, if you go to the workshops or you're going to get stuff, you're going to be able to build an agent today, and you're going to say, this is the use case. I can help my business have a digital labor force. So speaking about dummies, what's the saying? I'm trying to think about it. You drink your own champagne or you eat your own dog food, whatever the American sayings are. Right, Salesforce is customer zero. If you go to help.salesforce.com right now, you'll be speaking to an agent. You'll be interacting with an agent. And what we are seeing is that 80% of those interactions, and we're doing about 30,000 a week, are totally done by the agents. And then there's about another 1 or 2% escalation up to people that are involved with that, and then others, they kind of be pushed out and divert to other people. It is making a huge difference to our bottom line. Right? It's not that we're letting people go, we're just doing more with the service. Our service agents are now dealing with the more complex cases. So we are agent one, but it's not just us. Like I said, many others are going out live. So Royal Bank of Canada, and is Canada a state of a US? No, sorry, right, not yet. Robin, stop. Canada doesn't belong to the US. Royal Bank of Canada. This is probably the third most valuable bank in the world, big organization. And they've been a long time Salesforce customer, a little bit in the US, a little bit in Canada. But they've been building AI. They have over 100 PhD data scientists building their LLMs and their data models and everything. And they've turned to Salesforce saying, well, actually, as much as we're building it over here and we have the resources and the skills and the capacity to build our own AI engines, and they're still doing some of that to a large degree, they're saying from a business impact point of view, we're going to use Salesforce. And they've gone live with an agent that helps their brokers. So in their wealth management environment, those brokers now are all experts. They have information at their fingertips to be able to look at data, put best offerings in front of them. So, these guys could build it. Point is that they've chosen to use Salesforce for some of their agentic layers, especially around their customer engagement. Another one is OpenTable. So OpenTable is you get to book a whole lot of restaurants online. These guys have had a huge surge, right? A huge surge in business globally, and people are using it for booking tables. And the challenge here is a human capital challenge. Because it's like, hey, my booking, I want to change my booking, I didn't get an update in the app, what's happening? A lot of that can be mundane. They would either have to hire like the clappers and reskill, or what they've done is put a agentic layer and kind of kept static hiring, that they kind of growing their labor force by about 10% rather than having to double, triple their labor force. Now, again, it's not about putting people out of business, it's making the people that are there more productive. So that's enough about me, because I think, yeah, Robin, that's the sales pitch, that's the marketing. Let's see it in action. So I'm going to ask Linda to come up, go a little bit more under the covers, tell you more about Agentforce, and then, of course, the wonderful demo team is going to help us. So please welcome to stage my colleague, my partner in crime, Linda. There you go.
You can all hear me now. Yeah. Thank you, Robin, partner in crime. That's me with my Agentforce hair. I hope you like it. That's a long title that I have. Yes, it's 2 jobs. We won't talk about how much the pay is. But why can I do 2 jobs? Well, Robin said it. We actually drink our own champagne, and I'm using agentic AI in my daily role. But when we were putting this together and we thought, okay, let's chat to you a little bit about this, we figured just because we've been using it doesn't necessarily mean you have. And so you're probably quite keen to interview maybe your first digital employee. So today we're going to take you under the hood of what is powering your digital employee. We're going to debunk some data myths. We're going to explore the roles and tasks that agents perform. But we're not just going to tell you about it. You know, at Salesforce, we like to show you. So we're going to do just that. Now, we've all been so focused on these 3 words, haven't we? It's been an obsession for us. I'll tell you, these 3 words changed my life. I had to relearn and learn and learn. But it's also been a really interesting journey for us because as we've been discovering what does this mean, a lot of our customers have said to us, Linda, this stuff is great, but the more I seem to invest in it, I'm just not getting the value. And we get that because if you just focus on the LLM, it's like buying an engine for a car and hoping you're going to drive somewhere. So it's not just about the LLM. It's actually a lot more about what's around the LLM that's adding the value. So that LLM needs to understand your data, your complex data ecosystem. It needs to be able to bring in all of your organizational data, not just your structured data, but your unstructured data too. And of course, the metadata and the semantic data about your business. And that's the key to understanding data in your business. Now, you need the ability to take action, right? So it's all about being able to automate and act on the insights in your organization and obviously leverage all of your analytics. And you need to be able to act across all of your applications and leverage all of your APIs. And lastly, we've got these amazing agents, but they need something like RAG, that retrieval augmented generation. And that's how we securely connect data to AI exactly where it needs it. And we obviously need a way for this AI or these large language models to think and to reason. Now, this is kind of where a lot of people go, yeah, I could build this. I could stitch this together. It would be complex. It would take you quite a lot of time. What if you had this one unified platform that's deeply unified, that had all that trust and that security and those permissions and the data governance that you need? Well, of course, that's exactly what we're building. And we know a lot of you really worry about vendor lock-in, so we've thought about that too. And we've made this platform as open and as extensible as possible. We want you to be able to leverage those existing investments you've made in your data through our data cloud, bringing that all together with that zero copy. And by the way, not all of you are going to want to use one LLM. You might have a specific LLM that works better for your business, might be different to the person sitting next to you. Well, we want you to be able to use whatever LLM works for your business. And then, of course, it needs to work across any geo, and it needs to be able to connect to more than just your CRM. It needs to bring in other systems. We'll have more on that later. Now, we've been investing in our platform for the last 26 years. And this investment has been coming together to create this deeply unified platform with the most important part, which is that deeply integrated platform with the metadata framework. So it's got all of the security, your roles, your permissions, your data model, your process flows, your epics, your apps, your structured, your unstructured data, your data engine, all of that on one platform. This is exactly why we're bold enough to say this is what AI was meant to be. Now, I don't expect you to take my word for it. Robin mentioned it. We have 5,000 customers that have deployed Agentforce already today. And what we're seeing from them is they've been able to do that 17 times faster and with 75% more accuracy. Well, the future's now, folks. Things have been changing so fast. And I want to just take us back quickly, just to ground ourselves. You all know chatbots, right? You love chatbots, don't you? They're amazing. I love chatbots. There is nothing better than when I've got a real issue I need to solve, and I click on that "How can we help you today" button, and it gives me 3 options completely unrelated to anything I wanted to solve. And then I almost have to get borderline abusive with the thing before it'll send me to a human so I can actually solve my problem. Awesome experience, right? Well, this is exactly why when we hopped into this Copilot realm and we took our first steps in generative AI, we felt like this thing was a revolution. But I'll tell you the reality. It didn't take long for our customers to put up their hands and say to us, "Yeah, it's cool, but it's not quite what we were hoping for. We didn't quite hit the mark here." And we realized why. Copilots weren't good enough because they were reactive. We needed something proactive. And agents are proactive. They're able to take action, and they are truly able to scale your team 24/7. And that's exactly why we're so excited about them. So, I wanted to first, before I let the amazing solution engineering team come and show you one in action, I wanted to first maybe introduce you or take you through to New Zealand so that I can also introduce you to the company where this specific agent works. So what do you say we roll that video?
Fisher & Paykel is about being the most human-centered appliance company in the world. It's about taking the ordinary and making it extraordinary. We're a growing business. And with that comes some challenges. It comes with challenges of scaling fast enough and making sure that you're keeping up with customer demand. And we just weren't going to live up to our brand promise.
We had high call volumes, we had people waiting in the queue to be answered. We couldn't move quick enough.
And that's the problem that we want to solve using the Salesforce platform, that our customers get a consistent, seamless experience every time they interact with us. We really believe the kitchen is the heart of the home. It's where people meet, it's where homework is done, it's where conversations start. Salesforce is a really important part of our customer experience.
This is our customer, Peter. We can see he actually has a connected appliance, so we can send them notifications when the water filter is due for replacement. So Peter can navigate to our website. Agentforce knows who he is, knows that he has a refrigerator. That requires water filter replacements every 6 months. So we can create a topic of subscription and add instructions, and Agentforce will offer up a subscription.
And that's the difference with Agentforce. It actually talks back to you like a person's on the other side.
Our customers, they don't need to come and speak to a real human unless they need something more complex.
This is a really big change for us. It's giving us the ability to scale our existing workforce. Technologies like Agentforce help us meet the customer where they want to do business with us. Agentforce has access to everything in our Salesforce environment and is able to provide a much more contextual experience and answer for the customer.
When our customers engage, they're living their life. You might be in the middle of cooking and you need an answer right then and there, like what's my optimal temperature, what shelf should it be on. With Agentforce, we will serve up the content and give you the answer straight away.
That's the power of it. It's the deeply unified platform. With our previous bot solution, we were helping resolve issues for customers about 33% of the time. We're forecasting to well and truly double that. Luxury customers expect 24/7 customer service pre and post-sale. We see Agentforce and our connected appliances coming together to help our customers more proactively. They can focus on the things that are important to them with the people that really matter.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Great to be back in Cape Town. I need to ask though, each time I come down, can you please keep the wind to yourself? Because I think my hair product bill has just tripled to actually keep it where it needs to be. But great to be here with you. So as Linda and Robin promised, we're going to show you how brands like Fisher & Paykel and any other business, quite frankly, can customize and configure agents to bolster their digital labor force. Now, to do this, I need to talk to you about when I redid my kitchen. And for anybody that decides to remodel, please always remember, measure twice, buy once. my latent ADHD had kicked in, so I didn't. So when the fridge arrived, I actually had extra space. So I want to exchange it for a bigger one. So I'm going to ask you to phone customer service with me, and let's start comparing the age-old chatbot experience, as Linda says that she loves, versus how we could then change that with an agent. So here we go.
Hello, and thank you for calling customer service. If you know the extension of the party you are trying to reach, you may dial it at any time. To hear our store hours, please press 1.
Okay, like really.
To start a return, please,
I'm not actually
press 2.
going to listen to all of that, because if you're like me, you're either going to hang up, like what I did now, or you're going to listen to all the options. And usually at number 9, if you're lucky, they go, would you like to speak to a human? Okay, by that time, you're about to throw your phone through the wall. What's very interesting is a lot of companies use this as a form of case deflection. They use this so that you will put down the phone, so that there is one less query for them to worry about. Here's the thing, though. I just want to talk to somebody. I just want to tell them my problem, and I want to get a bigger fridge, and that's all I want. But none of those options are going to get me there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to phone Will. He's an agent working at Fisher & Paykel. So let's see if that experience then becomes a little bit better and a little bit different. So here we go.
Hi, I'm Will, your Fisher & Paykel AI assistant. How can I help you today?
Hi, well, it's Adeline. I got my fridge from you guys, but it seems to be too small. Would there be a way for me to exchange that, please?
I'm sorry. That sounds frustrating, but I am here to help. Is this about the 48 7-liter series, 7 French door refrigerator you purchased on 25th March?
That's the one.
I have a couple larger capacity models in mind that offer the same benefits for your current fridge. Are you able to take a picture of the space so I can recommend the best option?
I can, yes.
Great, I've just sent you a text message where you can upload a photo.
Okay, so let's quickly send Will that photo. See what he does with that. Okay, well, I've just sent it to you.
Based on the dimensions of the space, I recommend the 569-liter series 7 French door refrigerator. It offers plenty of flexible space for cold and frozen food storage. Would you like to go with this option?
That sounds perfect.
Great. The soonest delivery appointment available is this Friday between 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. Does that work?
I need to pick up my kids, the joys of being a mom. Can we make it between 12 and 3, please, Will?
Unfortunately, we do not have a 12 to 3 p.m. window. If you would like, I can connect you with a representative to explore other options.
No, that's okay. Thanks, Will. So that experience was better, right? Was a lot better. I'm talking to Will like I would with anybody in this room. But there's something that Will couldn't do. He couldn't change the delivery window that I needed to have done. Now, if I was speaking to a human, they would have been able to do this, right? So if they can do it, can Will do it? The short answer is he can. But before I show you how he does it, I'm going to hand back to Linda to just take us into Data Cloud and Atlas Reasoning Engine a bit more.
It's pretty awesome, right? Whew. So how does Data Cloud work? Agentforce doesn't only feel but sound sophisticated, but I do want to take you a few steps back so that you can kind of see how this all works. So we all know that these skills and these actions are what makes Agentforce proactive. And all of this is actually possible because of a little piece of technology we call Atlas. It's our reasoning engine, and it's the brains behind absolutely everything we do. Every time Agentforce takes action, it actually gets smarter. It starts with a trigger. It's a kind of input. Let's call it a conversation, maybe a change in customer behavior, could even be a flow. Agentforce then evaluates that input. It collects the data to understand it, and then it reasons. It then executes actions that end out with an outcome or an output. And then that's what gets fed back to learn. Now, all of this is done without a single human intervening. But I want us to maybe just dig a little bit deeper into that magic circle of reasoning there. So, Agentforce is trusted and accurate because of this Atlas reasoning engine. Customers are using Data Cloud to manage that structured and that unstructured data. And this data, plus all the actions and the policies and everything that you've built in your Salesforce platform, is actually that foundation of Agentforce. And this agentic loop that you're seeing there is what's retrieving and indexing that data in real time. That's what's reasoning and refining and creating this trusted and accurate plan. Agentforce takes those actions, but first it makes sure that it's following any of your policies and your guardrails. And like I said, it's going to learn from those outcomes by feeding all of that information back into Data Cloud so it gets smarter. Now you're probably wondering, why do these agents feel so human? And if you were guessing it's about the data, you'd be right. But this is the bit where I want to just quickly debunk a myth for all of you, because I think we've got this a little confused. It's true, AI needs data to understand your business, but you don't need to train a large language model. Let's be honest, it's expensive, it's complicated, it's not very sustainable, and also it's outdated, because once that training is done, that's all it knows. It doesn't get additional data in. So for us, we've realized that training an LLM for most businesses is completely out of reach. And guess what? It's not necessary. We've flipped the script completely, so we can bring you AI without training a single model. And how do we do that? Well, we know that the power is in the prompt. It's in those questions and all of those instructions that you're giving to that LLM. And you want to be able to use those prompts to teach your LLMs more about your business. Now, I know what a lot of people think next is, how much of a prompt am I going to have to write here? Don't worry, it's not going to be the 50 pages. Why? Because there's this very specific technique that we mentioned earlier called RAG. That retrieval augmented generation is what's actually searching all of that structured and unstructured data. It's going to retrieve that right data at the right time from the right data source, and it augments your prompt so that you can get that maximum value out of your LLM. No training required. Now, we debated about whether we put this slide up. So for all the technical people in the room, you're going to love this slide. For all the non-technical people, stay with me. I will explain. At the heart of Data Cloud is this Atlas reasoning engine. And it is the brains behind Agentforce. Atlas thinks. It thinks about its environment, it gathers data, it formulates a plan, and it loops as many times as it needs to make sure that it's a good plan or a good answer. And if you take a moment to think about it, it's kind of how you think, right? It's how humans solve problems. If I ask you a question or I ask you to do a task, you're going to think about it. You might need to get some data, you might need to ask a friend, and then you're going to formulate a plan, and you're going to execute it. And depending on the outcome of how you've executed that, well, you're going to learn. Isn't it so? Well, that's exactly how we've structured Atlas to think. It's thinking, gathering, thinking, and delivering this plan. But all of this is pretty useless, I think you'll agree, if you were a human and you were completely cut off from information, from knowledge, and from the ability to learn from your experiences. Well, this is exactly why we say we need Data Cloud, that hyperscale data engine that brings all of your data from your data lakes with zero copy, all of your unstructured and structured data. So in Data Cloud, you're also getting access to the latest innovations in data security and governance. Data Cloud is the foundation of Agentforce. And it's not just managing your data, it's actually helping you unlock the potential of your data. It's what's powering these agents to deliver those personalized and effective outcomes. Okay, I've now showed you the heart and mind of your digital employee. But what do you say we head back to Sexy Voice Will and see how our team is going to use the Agent Builder to assign some work for Will to be done?
Thank you. You guys are stuck with my unsexy voice for now. Will be making his reappearance a bit later on. Right. Now, we said that Will was a lot better than the chatbot, but there was some things that he just couldn't get right. But logic applies that if a human could do it based on the data and the actions that we have, then our agent should be able to do it. Now, Will would need to be able to check inventory. He would need to be able to check schedules, allocate a driver, make the booking. He needs to be able to do all of that. It sounds kind of intense, right? Sounds like a lot of work, but it's not really, because Salesforce launched Agent Builder. And you're seeing Agent Builder in front of you right now. So there is Will. I mean, if we're honest, it's not only his voice that... Anyway, so if we have a look at what we gave Will, we gave him a name, very important. We gave him a description of what he's able to do, and we gave him a role, right? And there are his channels. That's everything that, or every channel that he can interact on at any given point in time. Now, furthermore, in this Agent Builder, we can go and give an agent a topic, and a topic is a logical conglomeration of things that you should be able to do. You can think of them as skills or as roles, right? So Will already has a number like order management, general questions, etc. that he can manage, but we said we need to give him a new skill. We need to give him a new way of doing things that he wasn't previously able to do. Now, here's the first difference. In natural language, in normal English, I can say to the Agent Builder what I would like Will to do, what this new skill is that I want to give him. No decision tree, no if, then, that statement that we would typically need to program into a chatbot. An Agent Builder driven by AI, interestingly enough, then comes back and says, right, from that natural language, I suggest we give the topic name as delivery and inventory management, classification, scope. It works out a scope for me. Really important, because this is where we start telling our agents what they can and can't do, what they should and shouldn't do, right? So this is the base format of our guardrails. But we can take those guardrails even further with the instructions that we give. Again, the AI layer within Agent Builder has done a lot of that thinking for me. So once I've done all of that, the next thing I need to do is tell it what it can do and what it has that it can use. Now, with Salesforce, Agentforce, you are not starting from scratch. You'll hear this a couple of times before. You've built flows, you've built Apex, you've built all of that already. It's in your Salesforce platform. And what the AI has actually done, given everything it's helped me with so far, is it's gone into the platform and found these that you already have, and it's recommending them for us to reuse them. All right, so that's all great. I'm just going to say create here, and you'll see it says success created, and there's our new topic. There's the new feature function that we want to give to Will as our agent. It's delivery and inventory management. So let's have a look at that. It's taken all of the instructions, scope, topic name, everything that we had. It's also added those actions that he would need to be able to do for technician routing and changing the date, etc. So that all looks great, and we can just say mark as reviewed. Now, one of the things that I personally really like about the Agent Builder is the fact that you can test what you've just done in the Agent Builder before setting them loose on any of your channels that you have within Salesforce. So let's go ahead and run a test here and see what Will comes back with. So he greets me and I say, I want to change. Look, we know I'm going to change the fridge, right? I'm a queen, I need the bigger one. But I want to change to a different delivery time. Again, because Agentforce is multimodal and because it's multi-channel, it remembers the context of our conversation. So I can say that's correct. It is about that I'm contacting you. So let's have a look at what Will's doing right now. Now that response is different. When I asked him that on the phone call, he said he couldn't do it. And now he's come back and said he's been able to move a couple of things around, and he can actually fit my delivery in between 12 and 3 like I requested. And if we have a look at the right-hand side here, this is the Atlas reasoning engine in action that Linda spoke about. So it goes into the instructions and the actions that we gave it, right? We built it for him. It decides what to do. It plans what to do. It grounds in your data, structured and unstructured. It calls all of the right actions, the technician routing, the get appointments. It does all of that for you intelligently in the Atlas reasoning engine until we get to the last response where we can actually create that appointment. The other really nice thing, over and above the fact that you can test your agent in Agent Builder and AI helps you to build your agent, it's very confusing, stick with me, is AI can actually help you test this, right? You can say you're not happy with a response, you're not happy with an utterance, and it will generate suggestions for you. So we've just, through clicks, not code, given Will what seems to be working as a new topic that he can execute. So the last thing we would need to do is phone him back and see if that actually runs live. But before that, I'm going to hand back to Linda again.
I wish I learned new skills that quickly. Alrighty. I want to reassure you. I think the best part that we've seen so far about what Agentforce is and what's so special about it is some people are not quite ready to employ digital employees, but they've still got this nagging worry, like, what am I going to do about this AI thing? Well, the best part is that if you're building on Salesforce for humans, you're automatically building for the future of agents, because everything that you build for your humans is reusable for your agents, but only on the Salesforce platform. So for the last 26 years, these clouds have been the foundation of our innovation. Everything that we've done, we've rebuilt on core, whether that's an acquisition or a new product. We've been spending a lot of time rebuilding that on core. It's one unified platform. It brings you the power of that unified data and metadata into every single one of these clouds. I'm sure many of you here today are familiar with our Customer 360. We've been building capabilities and empowering people in sales, service, marketing, commerce, and we've been doing that for many years. And now we can honestly say we're doing that on one deeply unified platform. So, good news. If you're building on Salesforce, you're launching your AI agents from miles ahead. Like I said, everything built on this platform can be used by Agentforce. And that's why it's 17 times faster, because you're not starting from scratch. So let's just unpack this a little bit. Everyone here in the room knows exactly what roles are, right? We've been defining them and building out capabilities in sales, service, marketing, commerce for years. Now, for example, take in Sales Cloud, you've defined your account executives' roles, their metrics, measures, all of those bits and pieces that you've done. Well, those exact things can be used by agents. And you saw that in the demo with ads. Those roles are out the box, ready to use. You've done the work. But I also want to take a little moment just for you to think about agents in a slightly different way, because it is a single platform, and yes, we talk about them in the roles that they're in, but we need to also evolve some of our thinking, because these agents are able to execute in 3 ways. Agents are able to speak to other agents. We like to call that headless. Agents are also able to speak to your employees, so they can interact internally, and agents are able to talk to your customers. So they're able to interact externally. So it's a nice sort of definition in terms of that. You'll see in terms of our workshops, we've defined a lot of these according to the roles, just to give you a bit of structure in terms of where your interest lies. But it is one platform. Now, data, super important. And we know the data is already sitting in your platform, whether that's the structured data, like your custom fields, or unstructured data, all of those rich Slack conversations, or the knowledge articles that you have. Data Cloud is our zero-copy partner network. It pulls in all of that data from your external data lakes and warehouses, and it's ready to be activated by Agentforce. So we're able to leverage the investments you've already made in data. Hey, we all know there's work to be done, and we want agents to be able to leverage the actions and the business processes you've already built. Every flow, line of Apex, or even your MuleSoft APIs, they should be available with a point and click just to empower your agents. And of course, we know Salesforce is rich in terms of channels, and so everything that's natively built in the Salesforce platform is available to use from agents. So whether that's Slack or WhatsApp, or potentially even your company website. Trust, our #1 value. Every single Agentforce interaction runs through our trust layer. That includes that data privacy, the security, the guardrails, and that toxicity detection, all with the monitoring and the observability that you would expect from an enterprise platform. So all the work to be done on the Salesforce platform is transferable straight to your Agentforce. And of course, it's not enough. We have built hundreds of industry-specific product templates to get you to value so much faster. So what do we do with these? These are out-of-the-box templates. You can tweak them in the Agent Builder, connect your data, and they allow you to drive value even faster than what Ads showed you today. But what about the stuff that's not in your CRM? You know, it's hard for me to imagine that you're not all wall-to-wall Salesforce, but it is the truth. And of course, we've had to think about, you know, what happens if you need to connect to SAP to potentially process a refund? Maybe you need to onboard a new employee through Workday. Well, we do want you to be able to utilize agents to create value right across your IT estate. And Agentforce now crosses those boundaries beyond the CRM, and it can take action across any workflow. Agentforce truly is an agentic layer for your entire business, building agents to do more autonomously. But of course, we need tools to do that. And you can deploy with confidence and scale with our new testing center that we just recently launched. MuleSoft, amazing product. I've just told you, you can connect agents and do action right outside of your current CRM system. And doing that with natural language. Isn't that amazing? And then, of course, that semantic layer, that's really how we're enriching and bringing Agentforce into understanding your business better. How would you say Agentforce is doing in his first interview? Pretty impressive, right? Alrighty, should we phone Will and see how he handles that query now? Yeah.
That's me again. I promise it's the last time I'll pop up on stage for today. But yes, let's give Will a call back and actually see, now that we've tested those skills and given him those skills, how he responds when I ask him to change my delivery time. So here we go.
Hi, I'm Will, your Fisher and Paykel AI assistant. How can I help you today?
Hi, Will, it's Adeline again. Are you able perhaps to move my delivery slot to 12 to 3 p.m. instead of 12 to 6 p.m.?
Is this about the 569 liter series French door refrigerator?
That's correct.
I was able to move a few things around and secured a slot for your fridge delivery. Derek J. will be there between 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. this Friday. Is there anything else I can help you with?
No, thanks, Will. You've been amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you see how with Agent Builder, you can build your agents, give them work to do, give them topics to do, and you can decide there what runs autonomously, where we have humans in the loop, but humans stay in control. Right? Yes? No? Okay, thank God. All right, and with that, I'm going to love and leave you and hand back to Robin to bring us home. Thanks, everybody.
Right, well, it's about making the complex simple, right? And I know there's been a lot of content today, but really it's about making the complex simple, right? The agentic layer is going to need that data cloud that sits underneath it to drive it, but it integrates everything and brings it together. I hope it's not scary. I hope there's a lot of content in there that you want to go through, but really this is what it's all about, right? It's Agentforce 2.0. What we mean by that is it's really putting that platform, it's integrated, but it's also unstructured data. So some of the demos you wouldn't have seen is like, I think Linda showed you, you talk to SAP. It's even a content management solution. If you had PDFs floating around, it can look into those written documents, come back and say, oh, this was actually a query about the fridge. This is the user manual instruction. There are so many different use cases. It doesn't have to be sitting in Salesforce as a data line. It could be sitting in a PDF document or a user manual or anything. This is the great thing about making them more empowered. But the beautiful thing around Salesforce, and I want to reiterate, and we kind of spoke about it earlier, this is new to many of you in the room. It's new to us too, the Agentforce, the autonomous agent. But AI is not new to us. So when you look at this, you're probably going like, wow, that looks like science fiction. As I said earlier, it works. It works today, and I'd hope that every one of you gets a chance today to build an agent. If you build an agent, you'll figure it out. It actually does work. But before we get around to building the agent, I've been in this game a long time, and history has a way of repeating itself, but hopefully not always the time. And many, many years ago, I remember when I started with Salesforce, I had to beat the drum of what cloud computing was, right? Oh, we can't trust cloud. I need it in my server, in my IT room with blinking lights. And we had to teach people that, don't reinvent the wheel. Use cloud computing. You don't have to worry around infrastructure, the top of the iceberg. Focus on your business. Don't focus on infrastructure. Any CIOs in the room, right? Back in the day, you guys had all the power, right? Because you had all the power. We couldn't do anything if the CIOs weren't making things work. And then we gave you cloud computing, and you gave a little bit of that shared power, and you guys became MBAs. And then suddenly, cloud computing has now shifted to AI. And what I'm telling you now around the AI customer success story is the Agentforce is built into Salesforce. You can make it work. Or you can build your own AI solutions, as Linda's been speaking about, but we kind of reference this tip of the iceberg. The same thing with cloud computing, why build versus buy? And so we're always going to have this kind of catchphrase saying, don't build your own AI or don't DIY your own AI, because truthfully, unless you have a shed load of resources and a lot of highly skilled data scientists and people that know what they're doing around this, it is hard. It is super hard, right? Because you've got to train the model. You've got to constantly train the model. It's not a one-off training. We spoke about the Atlas engine, right? It's not just one. There's different models you can bring. You're bringing, you're training, you're retrieving. You've got disconnected data. It's not saying you can't do it. The question is, why do that? Now you're going to have to build these big AI data departments. Some of you have the resources, but most of us don't. So honestly, this is where I'm saying it works. We have customers that are there, testimonials, they're live, have a look at it. But this is kind of the choice you can have. You can have AI in your business today because it exists, it works with Salesforce, or you can go off and build it. So that said, it works. Every one of our applications, we have sales agents that you can deploy today. You've got service agents, marketing agents, and more agents are going to come on stream. We're also going to have the third-party ecosystem. So if any of you are partners in this room, many of our partners are building agents specifically for industry. And of course, it all sits on that unified messaging platform. So before you leave this room, you can take your photos out or your cameras out. You can build these, right? There's actually, if you're an enterprise edition customer of Salesforce, you can get a free Agentforce environment to go muck about with and play and test. So look at the QR code, take it, get your phones. But if you're an existing Salesforce customer, enterprise edition or higher, we're actually giving you a free environment to go and build this out. And we've got prompts, we've got agents, we've got templates. They all exist there for you already. But I don't want to oversimplify this because it's also around trust and transparency. Some of the stuff is very simple use cases, and you can build an agent, an FAQ. But is that deriving a lot of value? Because I'm conscious that there's a subscription model, and there's other things that derive huge value, right? But then you need to do the stuff behind. And I'm going to give an example. They're not up here, but on Teams, Iberia, Iberia Airlines. They have built an agent for tracking lost luggage. Simple, but it wasn't simple because it had third-party dependencies. So it's not always as simple as that because you have to call out to a third-party luggage tracking system, bring it back. But if you go to Iberia now, you can say, where's my luggage? And an agent will do that. So agents can be one of two things. Simple, standalone use case, very simple, or you have to use a whole lot of data behind, which is that data cloud. That's connecting it. And that's where the secret sauce lies, is what's the complexity. But the flows, the work rules, the prompts, the triggers are all inside Salesforce. So on that one, another kind of thing to say is, workshop, build your own agents. If you don't want to do the workshop today, again, you got Trailhead. If you don't know what Trailhead is, it's our learning platform. You can go on there. You can do free learning, free access to systems, free sandboxes. Go off and become an Agentforce-enabled person. So on that one, we're kind of done for the day. I just want to remind you about the sessions. You're going to have a nice healthy break. We're going to have a 45-minute break, and then the sessions are going to kick off at 11:45. So network, talk to me, talk to the team. And then don't forget, next door, we've got those workshop sessions. We're going to have kind of agent for sales, for service, for marketing, and of course, the interactive data cloud. So that is it. Thank you so very, very much for joining us today. Feedback is a gift. So there's one more QR code, right? We did this event today for you guys in Cape Town. Tell us what you like or dislike about the event. Tell us what you'd like to see or not see at these events going forward. But genuinely, our job here today is really to network with you, educate you, and have a bit of fun while we're about it. So again, on that one, thank you. Thank you very, very much for being with us today. Have a great day. Everyone, the break is yours.